If you're on the internet a lot, you've probably seen something like cottagecore, coquette, or kidcore. I know some people roll their eyes when they hear anything with the word core added to it, but personally, I think niche internet aesthetics are actually a good thing because they're great for self-expression, evoking feelings in the viewer, inspiring creativity, and finding like-minded people. But what are these niche internet aesthetics? Niche internet aesthetics are collections of images that create a certain look or feeling when you look at them. Usually, people put together what looks prettiest or aesthetically pleasing in their eyes. This could be characters, colors, designs, environments, fashion, and, stuff along those lines. A good example of one of these aesthetics is kidcore, which is an aesthetic inspired by childhood in the 90s, and the goal is to evoke those feelings of nostalgia. It has bright colors and includes toys, patterns, children's show characters, and fashion from the 90s. But don't worry, I'm not that chronically online. I know that these aesthetics have long existed before the internet through art movements, architecture, graphic design, fashion, genres of fiction, and music. They do have their own rules, ideologies, and unique styles. For example, the Bauhaus movement was a 20th century movement that started at a German art school founded by Walter Gropius. The Bauhaus style is inspired by modernism, and it focuses less on adding tons of details, unlike myself, but more on form and function. I'll spare you more details on that one since, boy, there's a lot of history, and you're here for niche internet aesthetics. You're welcome! There are tons of niche internet aesthetics that can be found on social media platforms like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Pinterest. For example, people share their curated mood boards on Pinterest, and you can see inspired outfits on TikTok. But why exactly do I believe they're helpful and not weirdly, oddly specific micro-trends that should be forgotten? Let's get into the thick of it. The first reason I believe that they're valuable is because they can be amazing for self-expression. These curated aesthetics can be a visual representation of how you see your mind and can convey certain feelings and themes that you want to outwardly share. For example, Barbiecore is an aesthetic inspired by the fashion doll Barbie. It's hyper-feminine and emphasizes being confident, fashionable, girl friendships, and, most importantly, being pretty in pink. But what if you don't know what you like? You don't have to worry about that, because you can easily search for aesthetics that fit you, which gives you the room to figure that out. A couple great places to start are the Aesthetics Wiki and Pinterest. You can experiment by searching for colors, themes, and feelings to get the vibe you want. The internet is a great space to explore this kind of self-expression, where you can be anyone you want with no pressure. Your username, profile picture, banner, posts, and even the way you type online can be outlets for showing who you are and your favorite aesthetics. One thing people tend to create on the internet for certain aesthetics are mood boards, in which you often see fashion since this is a major way of self-expression. Niche internet aesthetics are amazing because they expose people to fashion styles they may have never seen otherwise. What started as a few aesthetic images online can evolve into a personal style that shapes how someone expresses themselves in real life. These aesthetics can also be how people are introduced to alternative fashion, styles that stand apart from mainstream or commercial trends. It's a great way to learn about fashion movements that reflect different values, histories, and identities. These can be very elaborate subcultures today. An example of learning about fashion subcultures through niche internet aesthetics is through the e-girl aesthetic. Through this, someone may learn about other dark alternative fashion options like emo, emo's brighter sibling scene, goth, and even something as specific as visual kai. People can reflect their beliefs visually by learning about and wearing different fashion styles. And it all started from a couple pictures you saw online. Isn't that cool? But moving on from fashion, let's explore the feelings evoked by these aesthetics. Like I mentioned before, aesthetics can represent certain feelings and themes. Similar to art, these aesthetics can evoke feelings in the viewer. This can be nostalgia for simpler times, fear, love, hate, comfort, and more. For example, frutiger aero is an aesthetic that Gen Z is bringing back. It's named after type designer Adrian Frutiger, whose fonts are used in the aesthetic, and Windows Aero, the UI style for Windows 7 computers. This style was seen from 2004 to 2013. Gen Z often associates this aesthetic with the hope that was once had for the future and how technology and nature could live in harmony. It also represents childhood nostalgia for some, since it was on the computers they had as kids. One more thing is that many are frustrated with the minimalist style that's popular nowadays and yearn for a time where there was vibrancy in life and design. Another example is the revival of other Y2K styles like McBling and Scene. Sure, these styles have existed, but people have taken an interest in them again because of nostalgia. Many have been sharing outfits, collages, art, and more of these aesthetics, and they're incredibly prevalent online again thanks to people bringing awareness to them. Scene even has its own modern aesthetic called scenecore, but it's not the same as Scene. And there's usually beef with the original Scene people because they don't like scenecore. Moving on from fashion, one main reason I think these aesthetics are great is because they're so helpful for art. They definitely have helped me as an artist personally. It makes it so easy to search for images to inspire the look and feel of original characters. From their outward appearance to their personality, these aesthetics can help shape the character. Just searching Google or Pinterest for what aesthetic you need, and you can build your own mood boards for characters. Sometimes people create characters based around specific aesthetics too. Besides characters, people can make edits, collages, and more of their favorite aesthetics. You don't even have to draw to create something inspired by them. People can share their works and their love of their aesthetics on the internet. There are growing communities online for these aesthetics and styles. Bringing up frutiger aero again, this is an aesthetic that, thanks to the internet, is reborn. There are tons of people who talk about it, there are Discord servers, a subreddit, artists who draw in the style, and YouTube playlists with frutiger aero music. You can find like-minded people for so many different aesthetics, or even subcultures if you get deep into it. Some may think that these aesthetics are cringe, have no reason to exist, they're oddly specific for no good reason, they pigeonhole you into being one specific thing, and are only passing trends. However, these aesthetics have lasting benefits for people and can be really helpful. These aesthetics can be the starting point for a lot of people in helping them find their style. They're specific, which is helpful in finding the exact thing you need. This doesn't mean that you're bound to one aesthetic, since you can express yourself however you like, and take inspiration from all sorts of aesthetics. Whether it's niche internet aesthetics or fashion subcultures you're exposed to on the internet, anything goes. Also, being cringe is not a crime. Be silly and experiment. If you're not hurting anyone, it's completely fine. People are so afraid to be seen as cringe and not be accepted due to cringe culture, but shaming someone for expressing themselves or figuring out who they are is just sad. Now, here's my own personal reflection. As you can tell from me yapping about it so much, I love frutiger aero. It's nostalgic as a Gen Z person, and so aesthetically pleasing to me. It's really calming listening to the music and seeing the cool images. I love how optimistic the style is with its bright colors and beautiful scenery. The OCs people make are so cool and well designed too. I kind of wish it was how the future actually turned out. But to be honest, I think it's more fun reminiscing. I think it's more fun reminiscing about it than it actually was back then, and I love seeing a community for it. Another aesthetic I enjoy is kawaii. Kawaii is pretty broad, so it took some time for me to figure out what styles specifically I like from it. My kawaii journey started when I saw soft girl stuff on the internet when I was younger. Then I found some pretty general kawaii outfits after a while. Then through social media, I saw in my recommended pages some amazing styles and dug deeper into specific kawaii styles. I saw Lolita. While it is so pretty and I would definitely wear a couple Lolita cords, or outfits, I wouldn't consider myself one since I don't want to follow the strict rules all the time. Then this year I found Hime Gyaru, and that is one style I'm inspired by. I'm still inspired by the general kawaii style, but because of the internet, I am now aware of specific styles like Hime Gyaru, Decora, and Fairy Kai. I know I chose to talk about a very specific topic, but justice for niche internet aesthetics. Do you have any niche internet aesthetics you love, or fashion subcultures you learned about through them? Let me know down in the comments. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys!